Tawana asked a question. She said, "Hey, me again. Just wanted to ask, we have 8 years of bank statements. Do I need to put all of them or 3 from each year or 1 from each year? Not sure because it's a lot." So fair question, Tawana. If you and your partner have 8 years worth of joint bank account statements, I really wouldn't recommend or advise that you need to provide all of them. Okay, so firstly, no need to provide every bank statement necessarily. I suppose my response to this question is similar to my response to last week's questions regarding color photographs of a couple and communication extracts between a couple, because those are also types of evidence that, depending how long the couple have been together for, can actually span quite a long time, and there's a lot of data, and you don't want to give them too much, or don't need to give them too much. So kind of similar approach. You want to give them bank statements early on so that they can see the length of how long you've been pooling your finances for. So give them, the first few months, just to show that when it was opened and that you were using it back then. That's step 1. Step 2, so create your kind of PDF document that you're working off and throw in the first few initial bank statements showing when it was initially opened. Then I would suggest attaching maybe 1 from each quarter. So 1 every 3 months from there, attach a new bank statement to show what your transactions were for that quarter. Over 8 years, 4 quarters, who's good at math, 24 kind of bank statements there. You're probably looking at adding to that document. So you've got early on, and then 1 from every few months thereabouts. And then step 3 is making sure you just give them up-to-date bank statements as well. Okay, so you definitely want to make sure you have up-to-date statements attached, because that's also what matters, that you're currently using your joint bank account. So when you approach it in that way, hopefully that will cut down the amount of statements that you're providing. And you're, based on your 8-year length relationship, you're probably going to have anywhere from, 20 to 30 statements there, which is a lot. So just keep in mind though, all this is within the context of what matters if you're in a married relationship at the time of application, or in a civil union de facto relationship at the time of application. You don't need to show you're pulling your finances 8 years ago. You just need to show you're pulling your finances now at the time of application. Yes, the further back you can show that, the easier it is to prove that you are now pulling your finances. So it's a bit of a balancing act. With a relationship like this, Tawana, I think 8 years is such a long time. I would really just give them a few early on, really maybe 1 each year for you, because you've got so many years there. And then the last 12 months, I would attach every statement for the last 12 months. I think in your particular case, with your particular facts, that's probably the most logical way to collate your joint bank statements. And kind of from there, if you want to go into more detail, you can highlight the transactions in those statements that show paying for your rent, your mortgage, your groceries, your utility bills, saving for expenses that you were expecting to incur at some point. So you can always highlight those key transactions in those statements once you've collated them and you've organized them. Hope that answers your question, Tawana.